Hi, I'm attorney Gregory Dell, joined by attorney Rachel Alters, and we're going to talk about a success story of Rachel's for a claim against New York Life Disability Insurance Company, formerly Cigna. And in these particular videos, we like to talk about the background of the claim, the basis for why the claimant was denied, what you were able to do, and then provide some tips for people who have New York Life long-term disability claims that could help them with their claim. So give us the background of this case against New York Life.
Sure. I represent a hospitalist. She's a physician that works at Kaiser Permanente. She's been there for 25 years plus, and she has a chronic severe degenerative disc disease and chronic knee issues. So her job as a hospitalist was very physical. She had to be on her feet all day long. She did rounds. She was, on call a lot, and she said she would walk miles and miles a day with her job, and it became so painful for her with her back issues that she was treating for and her knee that she ended up undergoing surgery. She couldn't do her job anymore. She tried, and she's the type of physician or person in general who didn't want to give up. She wanted to work. She wanted, this was her career. But it got to the point where her pain was so severe that she couldn't concentrate on her job duties. And as a physician in a hospital, she has to be alert, she has to be aware, and she can't be distracted by pain. So her physician recommended that she stop working. She ended up doing a bunch of injections to her back. She went through knee surgery, and then by the time it was all finished, she wasn't getting any better. So she resigned from her job due to her disability and stopped working. And Cigna, or New York Life, it was Cigna, right, approved her claim. They paid her for about a year, and then they decided that she was better and she could go back to work. So then she called us to handle an appeal for her.
And how did she get better?
Well, that's the thing. What they do is New York Life will look at the medical records, and if they see anything in the medical records that indicates that, maybe she comes into the doctor and she's having a good day and she seems to be, her pain is now a 5 out of 10 instead of an 8 out of 10, they look at that as an indication that she can go back to work. I tell my claimants this all the time, be very careful with what you're telling your doctors and make sure that they're writing down everything accurately, because if they're not, it gives New York Life the reason to deny the claim, because they assume, oh, you look good on this day, so therefore you're better.
So in this particular claim, what did New York Life rely upon as the basis to say that the claimant was no longer disabled from her job?
It wasn't anything specific. They reviewed the medical records, and they thought that she had ample time to recover from the knee surgery, that she had gone through the injection. She decided not to get back surgery, so in their opinion, if she's not going through the surgery, that she has gotten better. It wasn't anything specific that was in her records other than the fact that, she wasn't treating that frequently anymore. That was another issue. She went from treating, probably multiple times in a month to she wasn't seeing the doctor maybe but every 3-4 months, and maybe even longer. So what happened was Cigna looks at that, and New York Life will look at that failure to treat as you have gotten better. And I always tell my clients that you have to make sure that you treat on a continual basis, whether it's every 2 months, every 3 months, even if you don't feel like it's going to help you, because the fact that you're not treating gives New York Life the indication that you've gotten better. And even if the doctor is telling you specifically, hey, you can come into the office, but I can't do anything else for you, I would still like them to go into the office so that there's notes indicating what their restrictions and limitations are and what their pain level is.
And New York Life, when you said they did a review, did they examine her? Did they use an outside doctor? What was the actual mechanism they used to say that she's better?
They never sent her to a doctor. They never sent her to an independent medical evaluation or a functional capacity evaluation, but they hired a peer review physician to review the medical records and then disagree with the doctors that she's been treating with on an ongoing basis. So they disagreed with the restrictions and limitations she was given by her treating doctors. And they claimed she was perfectly fine to go back to work, to be a hospitalist, to be on her feet, 40 to 50 hours a week, which of course we disagreed with.
So what did you do on your appeal to get them to change their mind?
Well, we had her doctors on our side, which is always helpful. Their doctors were really actually very annoyed with New York Life for denying the claim, because they specifically told them on multiple occasions that she wasn't capable of handling the material substantial duties of her job on her feet all day long, and New York Life chose to ignore it. So then we also sent her for a functional capacity evaluation, which is a test that's 3 to 4 hours long, done by a physical therapist, which tests the patient's ability to sit, stand, bend, stoop, all kinds of physical things, and to see how long they are capable of handling these type of activities, to give an idea of what they're capable of doing in the work environment. So the functional capacity evaluation showed that she wasn't capable of doing her job, at this time. So they look at their job description, their occupational duties, the medical records, her MRI reports, all of those things together. The physical therapist will review those and then write up a report with an opinion as to whether she's able to handle her occupation.
From an occupational evaluation standpoint, did New York Life do anything to really dive into the duties of your client as a hospitalist?
Not really. They didn't do it at this point. They just looked at what her job duties were in the national economy, and then they had their peer review doctor just give specific limitations, and he did give limitations to her. He said that she had certain limitations, but that she could work through those limitations and it didn't prevent her from working. So they didn't hire a vocational analysis or anything like that. They just did a peer review and ended up denying her.
And when you put everything together, how did you prepare it, and what did you actually end up submitting for this appeal?
We submitted an appeal with the functional capacity evaluation. We prepared our own attending physician statement for her doctors to fill out, specifically detailing what her restrictions and limitations were, what she was capable of doing and why. We submitted all of her MRI reports, everything, objective evidence of her disability. And then we also submitted additional letters from her colleagues that she worked with that attested to the fact that they saw her in pain on a daily basis. And family members also wrote letters discussing what she had been going through and how difficult it had been for her. So we put all of that together with all of her updated medical records to make sure that everything was complete, and submitted that package to New York Life with the, as the appeal, and they overturned it, and they agreed with us that she wasn't able to handle her occupation.
And so, did they pay her initially at all?
They did. They paid her for a year, and then
Okay.
they cut her off.
And then, what's the definition of disability, and does it stay the same?
Her definition of disability is for 24 months, whether she was able to perform the material substantial duties of her own occupation as a hospitalist, and then after 24 months it changes to whether she can do any gainful occupation. So they will do a review probably in the next 6 months to determine whether they think she could do any gainful occupation, which normally is a sedentary job, sitting at a desk. If she can be, review medical records or be a supervisor or do something in a sedentary capacity, then they will probably deny her again and we'll have to do another appeal.
Now, in your appeal, I know usually that when we put our appeals together, we anticipate the change in definition so that we're not just trying to win the underlying claim of an own occupation definition of disability, but knowing that it's going to change in 12 months. So were the results of the functional capacity exam that you had supportive of the fact that she wouldn't be able to do any gainful occupation as defined in the policy?
I don't believe so. I think that said that she couldn't do her own job at this time, and it didn't go as far as saying she couldn't do sedentary work. So what we would have to do is probably have another functional capacity evaluation done down the road if she were to get denied.
And so when do you start that process of preparing for a change in definition from own occupation to any occupation so that you can help the claimant to avoid a denial?
Usually about 6 months before the actual definition change, because what we like to do is work with the doctors, the treating physicians, to try and get them to make sure that they're documenting that she can not only not do her job, but can't do a sedentary job sitting at a desk 40 hours a week, because if they don't document that in the records, then the insurance carrier will look at that as well. The doctors have never specifically said she can't do sedentary work. So we will work with the doctors. We make sure we work with our clients to make sure they're expressing to the doctors that, sitting for long periods of time causes them severe pain. It's not just the walking and the physical aspects of their own job as it is today.
So since you won her appeal, I know you continue to represent her, so you'll be involved in that process now of this change of definition, and then from there on continuing to help her to protect her benefits so she continues to get paid.
Right.
And how often does your client now need to continue to see a doctor on a regular basis?
I like to encourage my clients to see physicians every 3 months if they can. If it needs to be a little bit longer, but I would say never wait more than 6 months and never see the doctor once a year, because that gives the insurance carrier like New York Life the opportunity to say, oh, look, they're not treating as often as they used to, therefore they must have gotten better, which is not usually the case. However, we don't want to give them a reason to deny the claim.
And is the any gainful occupation definition going to be like this was a hospitalist, very well educated, where they're going to say go be a medical reviewer for an insurance company, something like that? Or is there like an income component to it where she has to be able to earn a certain percentage of money for any occupation?
I believe her policy has a 60% income component, so it says that not only can she do any occupation, but also she must be able to earn at least 60% of her pre-disability income, which she was a high earner. So it's not like they can just say, okay, she could go work, as a receptionist somewhere and earn $30,000 a year. That wouldn't prove that she was able to do her, any gainful
Right.
occupation under her policy language. She would have to be able to not only sit for 40 hours a week and work in a sedentary capacity, but earn 60% of her pre-disability income.
Which is an important thing because they come up with some job that pays $30,000 when she was earning $400,000, and that would not be reasonable. And then also they've compelled her to apply for Social Security disability, and I'm assuming that's something that's pending.
Yes, that is pending. She, I believe, was denied the first time around, so
Right.
we're in the appeals process, and if she does win that Social Security disability claim, that would be great. It's just that New York Life will offset her benefit by
Right.
that amount, but other than that, they're not permitted to offset unless she doesn't go through the appeals process and go through a hearing.
Well, it sounds like this claim was, typical in the sense that you had one victory, but the battle's far from done, that they're going to continue to reevaluate the claim, especially the change of definition, which is a very common area where we see a lot of claims denied, and then from there, even further, continuing to protect this claim as it moves forward. So if you're somebody who has a New York Life long-term disability insurance claim, feel free to reach out to Rachel, myself, any of our disability lawyers. We'll always provide you with an initial free phone consultation. No matter where you live in the country, we're available to assist you, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Hi, I'm Gregory Dell, the managing attorney of Dell Disability Lawyers, and I hope you find the video you just watched helpful. We put these videos out all of the time, and we'd love if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Beyond our videos on our YouTube channel, we also have lots of information available on our website at diattorney.com, and we encourage you to come to our website. The goal is that we want you to be educated about the disability insurance process, and when you get to our website, you'll see that we have information all about your specific disability insurance company, your occupation, and your medical condition. And we've designed our website such that you can easily search our website to find things that you may specifically be looking for. Now, at our website, we have thousands and thousands of pages of information, hundreds of videos that you can search, plus we're building a section of reviews of all the disability insurance companies, and we have the Ask Our Lawyer section where you can go ahead and ask us any questions that you may have. Now, we realize that you may not need us right now, but you may need us in the future to help you with your disability claim, and we think one of the best ways to keep in touch is by clicking the button below and subscribing to our channel. And most importantly, again, no matter where you live in the country, we're always available. Just go ahead and give us a call. We're happy to discuss your claim and let you know immediately if we can help you.